Okay, so you've spent years, maybe even a decade, perfecting your craft. You're at the top of your game. But here's a question. Are you building a business that's as special as your skills, or are you just another clinic on the block? Today, we're going to dive into the blueprint for turning your aesthetic practice from just a place people go into a full-blown movement. Let's get into it. So let's start with this, because this is the fundamental question you have to ask yourself. Seriously, because your answer changes everything. It determines your entire strategy, from how you spend your marketing dollars to how you actually talk to the people who trust you with their faces and their bodies. Are they just clients, or are they part of something much, much bigger? So on the left, you've got the old way, the transactional model. A patient books an appointment, gets a treatment, pays, and boom, they're gone. And that puts you on this constant, expensive treadmill of finding the next new person. But on the right, you've got the community model. Now, this is where you build a truly loyal following that feels a real sense of identity and belonging with your brand, and they become your most powerful marketing engine. Let's dig into that first model for a second, because it is a trap that so many, and I mean so many practices fall right into. You're just hemorrhaging your budget on ads, constantly chasing new leads while your existing patients, the ones who already love you, feel like just another number in a queue. This is the fast track to becoming a commodity where you're forced to compete on nothing but price and location. And nobody wants that. And look, the industry data totally backs this up. A staggering 59% of practices prioritize acquiring new patients over retaining the ones they already have. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The majority of the industry is focused on the most expensive, least loyal segment of the market. It's completely, utterly backwards. So how do we fix this, right? It starts with a pretty radical shift in focus. We need to identify and then, basically worship the tiny fraction of your patients who are the true source of your growth. Let's take a look at who these people really are. So, who are these one percenters? Well, they're the people who book multiple times a year. They're the ones who refer their friends without you even asking them to. They leave glowing reviews, unprompted, and they're always liking and commenting on your social media. They don't just want any provider. They want you. These are your true fans. And why do they matter so much? Because these patients generate 5 to 10 times more lifetime value than an average patient. They are not just a small slice of your revenue pie, they are the absolute bedrock of your profitability and your brand's reputation. And yet, look at how most practices spend their money. The vast majority of the marketing budget goes to chasing brand new leads, while just this tiny little sliver, if anything at all, is dedicated to rewarding and retaining these MVPs. Be honest with yourself for a second. What does your own budget look like? This case study just illustrates the point perfectly. A dermatologist out in Beverly Hills created a private WhatsApp group for her 30 most loyal patients. The cost? Pretty much zero. The results? 47 new patient referrals in a year and a 40% drop in her acquisition costs. This isn't just some theory. It's a proven strategy with an absolutely massive ROI. Okay, so this brings us to our next pillar. Once you've figured out who your one percenters are, you need to give them a home. And I'm not talking about an email list. I mean a dedicated, exclusive space where they feel a real sense of ownership and connection. The psychology behind this is so powerful. We are all, every one of us, wired with this deep-seated need to belong. So when you create an exclusive community for your best patients, you stop being just a service provider. You start offering identity, connection, and a shared sense of purpose. It's a game changer. And believe me, launching one is simpler than you think. You can do it in a week. First, just pick a platform, something like circle.so, or even a private WhatsApp group can work. Then, define some clear, selective criteria for who gets in. Seed it with some valuable content before anyone joins. Then, send out personal, individual invitations to your top patients. And finally, you kick it all off with a live launch event to make them feel like true insiders from day one. And just look at the results. A Toronto plastic surgeon created the Transformation Circle for his body contouring patients. Now, 50% of his new bookings come from community referrals, members spend 60% more every year, and his patient satisfaction scores have just skyrocketed. This isn't just some nice to have. This is a strategic growth driver for your business. All right, so you've got your inner circle. Now it's time to give them an identity. This is the part where you transform your passive patients into active, fanatical brand evangelists. And you do it through the power of names, symbols, and storytelling. Just giving your group a simple name creates this huge psychological shift. A patient no longer just visits your clinic. They belong to the Glow Squad or the Transformation Tribe. They aren't just buying a service anymore, they're part of an identity. And that shift is absolutely profound. And then you make that identity tangible with symbols. Think branded hoodies or tote bags that patients would actually want to buy, a custom lapel pin just for founding members, a private hashtag that only the inner circle uses. These are low-cost items that create incredibly high-value organic marketing and a really powerful sense of unity. And this all boils down to one core principle. Stop trying to buy loyalty with a 10% discount. That's a transaction, right? Instead, earn their loyalty by making your best patients feel seen, celebrated, and truly valued. That kind of recognition is a currency that discounts can just never, ever compete with. And this mindset should extend to all of your marketing. You need to flip the script. Stop talking about your new technique or your fancy technology. Instead, make your patient the hero of every single story you tell. Your content should be laser-focused on answering one question: how does this make my patient look and feel amazing? When you celebrate their journey, they will share it absolutely everywhere. Now, when you put all these pieces together, worshiping your 1%, building that inner circle, and forging a real identity, you create something incredible, a self-sustaining growth engine that we call the loyalty flywheel. The whole process kicks off at stage 1 with an exceptional experience. And this goes way beyond just outstanding clinical care. It's about those unexpected personal touches, a handwritten note, a quick text on their treatment anniversary. These small gestures are the spark that ignites the entire flywheel. That amazing experience then leads to stage 2, recognition. You actively spotlight these patients. Maybe it's a Patient of the Month feature or a shout out in your private community. This public celebration then flows naturally into stage 3, community integration. They get the official invite into your inner circle, where they can connect with other people just like them and feel a true sense of belonging. And this is really where the magic happens. At stage 4, they become active advocates, referring their friends and defending your brand online without you even asking. But it doesn't stop there. The ultimate level is stage 5, co-creation. Here, your patients have a real stake in your brand's success. They're giving testimonials, mentoring new patients, giving you priceless feedback to shape your future. At this point, the flywheel is just spinning on its own, generating unstoppable momentum for your practice. So, at the end of the day, it really comes down to a simple choice. You can keep operating like everyone else, as a commodity, competing on price and proximity, constantly stuck on that treadmill chasing the next new patient. Or you can implement this blueprint and build a brand that commands fanatic, unshakable loyalty. The choice truly is yours. What are you going to build?